Hi, I'm Gail Sturgis from Talent Align. I'm often asked why I do what I do, and this is it. For as long as I can remember, I've had a passion for understanding and realizing the value of people in the workplace, not from a soft perspective, but from a hard business perspective. For too long, people have been undervalued and treated as dispensable resources when times get tough, without realizing the value of the asset that the organization is losing. In my experience, most organizations that go through these huge public retrenchment programs end up just a couple of years later with the same headcount but at a higher cost. So my mission is to create workplaces where people and businesses can grow and thrive together and achieve their highest selves. And why should organizations be taking this seriously? The world as we know it is changing, and changing very dramatically. Virtually every aspect of business is in the process of change, radical change. We are moving away from organizations as a machine, which had deep hierarchical structures, top-down management, and people processes that were created early in the 20th century. And we're moving towards organizations based on conversation, that have flat structures based on self-managing, autonomous teams, and with people processes needed for the new way of working, known as the NWOW. Here are some of the impacts of these changes, and especially the impact of organizations that have not responded appropriately to these changes. Firstly, the average lifespan of the Standard & Poor's 500 companies in 1958 was 61 years. Right now, it's 18 years, and it's expected to drop to 12 years by 2027, if not sooner. Fewer than 12% of companies listed on the Fortune 500 in 1955 are still on the list in 2017, just 12%. In 1975, 83% of the market value of organizations was based on tangible assets, that is, assets that are accounted for on the balance sheet. By 2010, 81% of the market value of organizations was based on intangible assets, things like leadership, brand, and people, none of which are accounted for in the financial statements of the organization. Abraham Maslow said, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. But today, it's not so much about growth and improving business. It's more about actually staying in business. Today, it's the business of survival. The reason is that businesses are being bombarded with change from a number of fronts. There is radical and unknown technology transformation happening. There's business transformation with the advent of small startups that become, in a very short space of time, major competition to larger organizations and threatening their future existence. And there's people transformation. For the first time ever, there are more job vacancies globally than there are people to fill them. And for the first time ever, we have 5 generations working together in the workplace. Sitting front and center of all this change is HR transformation. It is HR that takes responsibility for culture, values, people processes, and organization capabilities, the business critical elements of business today. Yet, they are still trying to do this with processes that are close to 100 years old. The silver bullet of management today is employee engagement, but we are using this so wrongly today. As Gallup described it when they invented it in the late 1990s, employee engagement is not a happiness survey. Employee engagement is about how well the organization's leaders are engaging their people's commitment to the success of the organization. It's about quality of leadership. According to the latest Gallup research, 51% of employees are looking for other work. Engaged employees are 17% more productive than not engaged employees. And better engagement leads to a 41% reduction in absenteeism. These are hard business results. How does this then translate into money, the language of the C-suite? If we take, for an example, an employee earning $450,000 a year or $37,500 a month, the total cost of replacing that employee should they leave is $670,000 or 149% of cost to company. I have the model. I can prove these figures to you if you're interested. If an employee is just 15% less productive in a month, it costs the organization $21,500 or 58% of the month cost of the employee. If we lose one day in unplanned absenteeism, the cost to the organization is 19,500 rand. So let's say we have this one employee earning 450,000 a year, and for 3 months they're looking for other employment. So they're not engaged. Let's say they're just 15% less productive over those 3 months, and they take one day a month off to go for interviews. The total cost to the organization is over 790,000 for just one employee, and we haven't yet taken into account the time it will take to get a new employee up to speed when they take over the role. And these are unbudgeted, unaccounted for in the financial records, yet very real costs to the organization. What I do is, I save the organization money, sometimes a lot of money. And I do this by training, coaching, and facilitating HR and people transformation in businesses. When we get this right, we improve employee engagement, we reduce employee turnover, and we improve both productivity and profitability. And we create a workplace where people and the organization grow and thrive together to achieve their highest selves. To find out how I can help you and your organization through your HR and people transformation journey and save you a lot of money over the longer term, you can find me at the following locations: on my cell, by email, through the website, on LinkedIn, or on Facebook. I really look forward to talking with you.